people, except people in Silicon Valley, understand you're kind of the father of so many of these things, not only the father, but the forecaster of it all. I'd love to know if you'd share with people, what was it in your childhood that, give us a little background in your childhood for a little bit, that shaped you, or were you just naturally, innately looking at things differently than other people? Like, I'm looking to find out, what is it that helped you to look around corners and predict things no one else did? When did you first start seeing these patterns that you now are so famous for?
Everybody tries to see where things are going and where things will be. And actually, at 16, I wrote a paper that indicated that there was exponential growth.
Wow.
So that was 60 years ago.
Yeah.
More than 60 years ago.
Yeah.
And I got the idea that there was exponential growth. Now, if I talk to people about exponential growth, oh yeah, there's exponential growth, but they don't really consider it.
Right.
They have a linear view. We actually didn't even have a linear view of the future like 300 years ago. It looked like things weren't moving at all.
Right.
They were moving, but very slowly.
Stone Age, Bronze Age took forever, right?
Now, this in this century, we know that things change, but they consider it with a linear view. We're now at the point where the exponential growth is actually moving very sharply.
Yes.
And people are realizing it's exponential growth, but they still don't take that into consideration.
What made you recognize that at 16, and what was the trigger for you?
It seemed like things were moving exponentially, and I really considered that, particularly in the 1980s, 1990s.
Of course, yeah.
And I actually considered a plan that would predict the future. I have this chart that shows the exponential growth of computing. It's a straight line from 1939 to the present, with a point every year. So like NVIDIA now is like trying to create their chip to be as powerful as possible, and they're going back and forth, and finally they arrive at it. They're using the same exponential growth today as they did with relays in 1939. And they're not looking at the relays, but somehow they arrive at the same exponential growth.
And we compound about 50% a year or every 2 years?
Right now, the gain is both hardware and software, and it's hardware times software. And right now, we're making about 10 times the growth every year.
Wow.
From 1939 to the present, we made a 75 quadrillion-fold increase just in hardware. So it's 75,000 trillion-fold increase. The conservative estimate of the amount of growth we've made in software is about 1 million to 1. So the amount of computational gain we've made since 1939 is 1,000,000 trillion-fold increase, which is beyond our imagination. But that's why we didn't have large language models in 1939, or even 4 years ago.
Yes, and yet you were predicting back then we'd get there. You always said, I don't know what the technology will be, but I know what it'll be able to do based on that exponential growth. But give people a couple metaphors, because those numbers, people's brains go flat. I remember years ago you shared with me the metaphor of just the compounding. I think it was the story of the gentleman taking chess to an emperor. Would you share that story? Because I think it's helpful.
The emperor of China loved chess so much, he wanted to reward the person that came up with this game very elegantly. So he said, well, you can have whatever you want. And he said, okay, well, I'll have one grain of rice. 1 grain of rice. And he said, 1 grain of rice? Is that all you want? Well, all right, 1 grain of rice for the first square, and 2 grains for the second square, and 4 grains for the third square. And so the emperor said, well, you can have that. So they went through the
64 squares, right?
Yeah, so they went through 32 squares, and they'd given basically 1 field of rice.
Yes.
But in the second square, they were giving away basically, it would have required rice grains covering the surface of the earth, including oceans, several times over. So either the emperor went bankrupt or the inventor of chess lost his life. We're not sure which happened. But.
Or another metaphor you've taught in the past is if I take 30 linear steps, that's about 75 feet. If I take 30 exponential steps where they're growing, that's 500,000 miles, enough to go to the moon and back. And that's the part of the thinking.
About 1 billion, yeah.
Yeah. So the people, it's about 1 billion. So people don't have that thinking process. Is that what's really been the predominant tool for you to be able to predict so effectively?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're now at a point where it's very sharp.
Yes, it's getting sharper.
Like right now, compare large language models like Gemini to 6 months ago.
Yes.
6 months ago, it was starting to give you health advice, wasn't always quite reliable. Now it's very reliable.
Yes.
And I've actually gotten things that I've got like 12 different doctors, and the doctors don't know these things.
Yes.
And what's it going to be in 6 months from now?
Yes.
It's going to be doing a lot of creative work.
Yes.
We could be able to take a approved drug and find out that it's useful for something else that we never knew about.
Yes.
It is capable of doing creative work.
Yes. Where are we? It seems like it's even more accelerated. You've been, I think I looked it up, there were 147 predictions you made in that book in 1999, and 86% of them have been completely accurate. People thought were insane. Where are we? You talked about AGI being 2029. We talked in 2010, you were telling me this, right?
I made that prediction in 1999.
Yes. So
to make predictions, you have to do two things. You have to be able to follow the exponential growth, which is actually not difficult.
Yes.
But you also have to estimate what's it going to take to realize different capabilities. And that's where it's a little bit difficult. But I've been studying that, and
yes.
So I got that prediction. I mean, people think 1999 right now is conservative.
Yeah.
When I made that prediction, and a lot of people we know were at this Stanford conference. They held a conference to assess the accuracy of my prediction.
Yes.
And they had several hundred AI experts come, and they agreed that this would happen, but they didn't agree that it would happen in 30 years. The estimate was 100 years.
Right.
But they were thinking linearly.
Yeah. Well, now, it's like you said, it's even gotten sharper in the acceleration.
Right.
Is 2029 is still the number for AGI? Because some people are talking about it being this.
Now it's a conservative number.
It is a conservative
number. Very few people go beyond
2029.
2029.
So what is it?
Some people say it's going to happen this year, next year. But I mean, 2029 is only 3 years away, so.
It's mind-boggling to anybody who's listening. What do you say to the average person who thinks, I'm overwhelmed, there's so much happening so fast, and they're they feel like they've missed it or they've given up? What would you say to them so they don't give up, so they understand? Isn't it true that technology is getting easier to use today?
It's good that people are doing that. If you look around, people are basically not aware of AI at all.
Yes.
When I started, people would ask me what I'm doing. I'm saying artificial intelligence, and they'd say, oh, what's that?
Right.
And I'd say, well, let's try to make a computer do things that are intelligent like people. And they would say, oh, what's a computer? Literally, because when I started out, there were only 12 computers in all of New York City, so people didn't understand what a computer was.
Yeah.
Now people are, the people that you and I interact with are aware of AI, and they're aware of some of its capabilities. But a lot of people are just going through their lives and unaware of AI at all.
That's true.
So it's good if people are amazed by it.
I think, well, there's some are amazed and some are fearful, right? And I think some are feeling overwhelmed in business.
This is the thing. I mean, when I first made this prediction, the big thing was, is it going to happen? and most people dismissed it. And yes, it will happen, but it's going to be 100 years and so on. Now everybody accepts that it's going to happen, and now the thing is it going to be good for humanity or not?
Yes. And your mindset has always been optimistic about that since the earliest days of what it could do for humanity. Well, what are your concerns with, first of all, how do you define AGI today? Let me ask that first. What is artificial general intelligence today for you as a definition? Is it the current Turing test still, or what was your view?
No, the Turing test is quite easy.
Yeah, it looks like they've already maybe done that.
AGI is capable of doing really the best work in every field.
Yes.
So you could do mathematics, and you could come out very well on like something where you would test people that are getting a PhD in mathematics, which already can do.
That's right.
And it would do that in every field. And it's pretty close to that already. I mean, and if you take something like Gemini or ChatGPT, it knows everything.
Yes.
Nobody can begin to do that.
Yes.
I mean, Einstein knew certain things about physics, but he didn't know everything that a LLM can know.
Yes.
And I mean, it's pretty amazing. I was just like, for example, I've got in my autobiography, I've got my father was conducting an orchestra at Carnegie Hall, and it said he did it on December 7th. December 7th, what year?
Yes.
So I asked Gemini, my father conducted this orchestra at Carnegie Hall on December 7th. What year was it? It says 1960.
That's amazing.
And then I wanted to show a picture. My grandfather said it would be the proudest day of his life if he could actually leave Vienna and go to England with his family. Now, they would have to give up everything. He'd have to give up his ability to be a doctor. His wife had to give up, was head of this school that educated women up to the first 2 years of college, which was one of the first schools in Europe to do that. And they couldn't come back. And so it was a difficult thing, but they needed to do this to live because the Nazis were going against them. So it would be the proudest day if he could actually do that. And most families couldn't do that. They had to let the kids go and so on. So I wanted to show a picture of this. Well, they didn't happen to have a camera at the end of their phones. They didn't have phones. Yes. They didn't have cameras.
Yes.
So I asked Gemini, give me a picture of it. It gave me a picture of it, showing the correct age. My mother was 16. My aunt was 13. It actually showed the correct plane that was used to take people from these two different places.
Yes. Wow.
So anyway, what it can do already is pretty amazing.
Yes.
And it did that like in 1 minute.
So for people who, let's say, are in business and they're concerned or have a career, there are people, for example, that now with agents, we've moved from most people not knowing AI, now people hearing about AI, maybe using it like an advanced Google just to get answers. Now there are people who have developed a digital twin that they can talk to and communicate, and now there are agents to go do work for you, and then we move to AGI and superintelligence. For the people who feel like they're missing, where would you tell them to start understanding what's going on so they don't feel behind? Because I would argue you're not going to be replaced by an AI, you'll be replaced by someone who knows how to use AI, I would imagine, wouldn't you?
I agree. And you can start using it as a Google, and then, but you can actually very quickly then make your questions more insightful.
Yes.
Ask it to do things, ask it to do creative things. And it's not very hard to do that. You'd be amazed at what it can actually figure out.
Yeah. Like you don't have to be a software engineer anymore. There's vibe coding now. You don't need vibe coding. You can have your agent do it for you. I mean, people that are just starting to use agents are saying
I have
that.
an 11-year-old grandson who makes movies using the most advanced AI.
Wow.
And I mean, this is a whole issue now. Our educational institutions are not teaching AI. They consider AI to be an enemy. And that's something we need, because the future, it's not just using AI. AI is going to become part of us.
Yes.
And that's a completely different view. I mean, right now people consider, okay, there's my biological intelligence and there's computational intelligence.
Yes.
And maybe the two of us can do things together, but this is not part of me. And you know if it's actually coming from your phone, if it's not coming from your own brain. But that's going to, we're going to be able to, we're going to put AI inside us. It's going to go to the cloud. It's going to access AI. And if you're trying to think of something, like I'm trying to think of some name of an actress in a certain movie, and suddenly it appears to me, okay, I know it's coming from my biological brain, but if I have AI inside me, you're not going to know if it's coming from your biological brain or your computational brain. It's going to be part of you.
Yes.
So, and that's the future. So we really need not just to actually use AI, but to incorporate AI as part of ourselves. The educational institutions are not doing that. They're treating it, okay, if you get it from ChatGPT or whatever, it's not really part of your own brain, but it is part of your own brain.
Well, unfortunately, I think our traditional education institutions are about memorization. They don't even do a great job of that at this stage. And I think most people's stress in life, I don't know if you agree, is they're trying to maintain their job, maintain their income, maintain what they're doing versus create. You're a creator. I'm a creator. When you create something, we were created by something, and we create something, creating love, creating family, creating a business, you don't have that stress in your life. And AI really is, it feels like to me, and I don't know if it does to you, it's the number one equalizer, because now there's a level of intelligence available to anyone on Earth, right?
It's pretty extraordinary. We've actually taken the ability to structure knowledge, and we know how our brain does that. And so we've created these tools that actually can create structured knowledge just like our brain does. But once it can do that, it can do that much more quickly.
Yes.
And so in 30 seconds, it can do what would take us many hours or days to do.
Yes.
When we created the COVID vaccine.
Yes.
We knew there was about 100 million possibilities. There's no way that a human being could go through that.
Right.
We actually had the computer to go through it, structuring physics in its mind, and it actually went through all of them and actually came up with the vaccine in 2 days.
It's wild.
Now, then we took 10 months to go through human trials. We're going to replace that in about 5 years.
Yeah.
We're structuring all the knowledge, and we'll be able to create simulated humans. And not just a few hundred, we can create like 1 million humans, test it for several years, and do that, but actually simulate that in a few days. So coming up with the trial, what we're testing, and testing it will take a few days rather than years. And we'll basically be able to get through all of the different health concerns we have.
Yeah. How do you use AI currently? Do you have like an AI twin that you're communicating with, or do you use agents, or?
We're creating an AI twin.
Oh, you're getting one right now?
We're actually going to use this interview to model my voice.
That's great.
And the AI twin will be based on Gemini, and it'll actually be creative.
Right.
And it can actually use my own indications of what's happening and help us actually to get there.
Yes.
I use it a lot for health. I mean, I'm staying healthy.
Yes.
but you've got to really anticipate. I mean, I'm 78 years old.
Yes.
And I'm in good shape, but in 6 years, we'll reach longevity escape velocity.
Oh, so it is 6 years. So explain to people what that means.
So 2032. So
2032.
Right now, you go through a year.
Yeah.
And use up a year of your longevity.
Yes.
However, we're coming up with new cures, new treatments, and you actually get, if you're diligent, which I'm sure you are, and most of the listeners here are,
Yeah.
but not everybody is, but if you're diligent, you get back, well, last year I was saying about 4 months. Let's say it's probably about 5 months. So you're getting back 5 months, so you lose about 7 months.
Out of a year. So you're saying longevity velocity, escape velocity is when we get to the point where every year you get a year back.
You get back a full year.
And then people like David Sinclair, Dr. Sinclair has been working on this. He's got, as you know, he's got mice being able to see again after they've lost the nerves in their eyes. He's doing the first tests on humans now.
There's lots of research.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is we're going to be able to find cures by basically saying what the problems is, and the computer will actually generate the possibilities. It'll generate millions of possibilities and go through them all.
Test them.
So we're beginning to be able to do that. And then you can actually do human trials,
Yes.
but using simulated humans.
Yeah.
So that's coming. That'll happen by 2030. So by 2032, we'll be able to go through all the different possibilities. So you get back at least a year. As you go past 2032, you'll actually get back more than a year. But you won't die of aging at that point. It doesn't mean you can have an accident tomorrow.
Sure.
Although we're also dealing with accidents. For example, we lose 40,000 people who die in car accidents right now from human driving. If you look at Waymo, the number of people who have passed away using Waymo, and the usage is going like this, is zero.
Yeah.
So we're going to do away with accidents largely, but anyway, the future is very good for our health.
So part of you always said is you take care of yourself to get to this point, and then there'll be tools and technology to keep you alive for a very, very long time, and hopefully a very long time, and helping your memory too, because Alzheimer's obviously is rampant in the world today. But tell us about your numbers.
I mean, like I have a pancreas.
Yes.
That's actually external. This
Really?
generates insulin, and then I measure glucose here.
Yes.
And it's
Tied to your phone?
coordinated by my phone.
Yeah.
And it's actually like a real pancreas.
Wild.
And we can actually do that with a lot of our organs. So anyway, there's a lot of things happening.
Wow.
And so that's one of the things I track.
Well, let's review your predictions. So 2029 now looks conservative. I agree with you based on all the people we see. I'm watching, I was just with Brett Adcock over at Figure AI, and he's got Halo coming, a new version of AI. And I got to see some things that are coming. I can't talk about it, but it blew my mind. Just the robots alone blew my mind. It's the things you were saying 30 years ago were going to happen right at this time. It's happening. They're shipping them. They'll do 100,000 robots in the next year, basically.
Yeah. The robots we're a little bit behind on. It's going to catch up rapidly.
Yeah.
But right now, if you have a dinner table and the plates are all over the place, we don't have a robot that can pick it up and know exactly what to do with each plate.
Yes.
It's coming.
He's if he's not there, he's very, very close, as you'll see. So we're tied into that. But tell me, let's go back to your predictions. So 2029 for AGI, where basically artificial intelligence can do anything that the best mathematician, artist, writer can do. And then you talked about the 2030s. Tell us about, when does nanotechnology play a role? Because you and I talked about this 20 years ago. You talked to me about these red blood cells and a percentage of nanobots. Would you share some of that information? You talked about if you had them in your bloodstream, for example, you'd be able to hold your breath or run for a period of time.
Well, right now, if you go anywhere, everybody's got a cell phone.
Right.
Everybody.
Right.
That didn't used to be the case. In fact, homeless people have cell phones.
Yes.
And this is the way we interact with artificial intelligence.
Yep.
And everybody's using it. And it has, I mean, even though we can tell what's coming from our cell phone, it is part of our way of interacting with people. And,
Yes.
but this is going to go away, and people are talking about what the next thing will be.
Yes.
I think we'll have a thing where we use artificial virtual reality, basically putting on some glasses, and you'll be able to see anything, including your computer screen.
Sure.
But beyond that, it'll actually go inside your mind, and if you're trying to think of something, it will appear to you. Just the way, I mean, if you try to think of an actress, you don't know all the things that go on in your brain to produce that.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit. All of your neurons work on that, but you're not aware of it. You just, you figure out, okay, it's this actress.
Yes.
But that will include artificial intelligence. You won't know if it's coming from your biological intelligence or computational intelligence. In fact, everything you do will be a combination of both.
And that'll be because of the use of nanotechnology that'll merge us. And is that in the past? I think you said the mid 2030s. Is that still the thought process? Is my memory
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I know people that are working on it. They probably will have it, by 2030. But mid 2030s seems conservative.
Seems conservative. Wow. So all of a sudden we're merged with AI. We're able to
So
tap
trying
into
to
the
figure
cloud.
out, okay, this is your biological brain, and that's the only thing that's important is going to go away. But that's what our educational institutions are doing. They don't want you to use artificial intelligence, which is a problem. It's starting to change, but it's quite slow.
Yes. And it sounds crazy to people. They're going to have something implanted to them, but nanotechnology doesn't feel like an implant the same way. Also, people have implants now who used to have Parkinson's, and they can push a button and they can grab the glass and drink it, as you know. And so it usually starts with something medical. And then a new generation doesn't think any differently about it, right? New generation, it seems like the way to do it. Why wouldn't I do it? Is that part of how technology gets integrated into our culture?
I mean, if you look at young people, they're very used to it. They're kind of used to the fact that the educational institution doesn't do this, so they kind of dismiss that, but they're doing it anyway.
On their own. So you're really, when I talk to people now, I tell them the next 3 to 10 years will see more change than any time in the history of humanity.
Absolutely.
But I said, honestly, it's more like 36-month countdown, because in the next 36 months we should have AGI. I was with the vice chairman of IBM, Gary Cohn, and I was saying, are we winning the AI race versus China? I said, I'm a little worried that there's no safety being focused on, because there's huge, carrot, which is trillions of dollars, and a huge stick, which is if we don't do it, China will. And he said, Tony, that's not the biggest worry. He said, the biggest worry, he said, who's going to win quantum? He said, because whoever wins quantum can basically disable the military, the opposite group. And when I asked him, when are we going to have quantum? He said in 36 months or less.
I'm not
Do you agree with that?
confident in quantum.
You're not confident? Tell me about that.
If you listen to, the idea of quantum is that you can factor large numbers. If you can do that, you could break every cryptocurrency code that's going. But they've never, ever done that.
Yes.
10 years ago, they were saying, okay, we're about to do this, but it never happened. And today it doesn't happen, and they make all kinds of progress reports, which people don't understand. And in fact, it's hard to understand because it doesn't really make any sense. And they're not, the output of quantum computing is filled with errors, and they can't get rid of the errors. So I'm not confident of quantum computing, and I don't think it's going to work.
That's fascinating. That's really interesting. You're coming from you, because you're usually the predictor of things. But with AGI, would it be able to help you resolve quantum or superintelligence?
No, but it's providing us fantastic capability without quantum computing.
I understand. Yeah, I understand.
We would be able to do AGI without quantum computing.
Yes.
There's no quantum computing used in that estimate.
Yes, I get that.
And it's going to keep going. So you don't really need quantum computing.
But if you're talking to the average person right now and you're saying the world's going to change in the next 36 months to 10 years, but really the next 36 months is going to have a huge amount of change between AI, getting to AGI, getting to robotics, and it's going to keep going.
And AGI is already pretty fantastic. No human being could compete with that.
Yes.
But then it's going to go the kinds of things that human beings can't do. But we're in charge of it. It's basically utilizing our ability to symbolize knowledge. And we've actually figured that out, and so that we can actually write it down, go through all of knowledge. I mean, if you go through Gemini, it's got, it knows everything already.
It's pretty wild. Where do you see job displacement in this area? Recently there's been a lot of talk about 100,000 jobs in the last 2 years have disappeared. A lot's been blamed on AI. Some people say it's not really AI. Of course, it's going to create new jobs, but the big difference, obviously, is how fast this will happen. What do you do in that 3 to 10 year period when there's so much disruption so fast? Long term, it's pretty obvious it'll be very good. What do you think we do as a society to deal with that?
What's going to happen with AI is it's going to create tremendous wealth, and society is going to become much, much more wealthy. And I've got a chart that shows actually this has already happened.
Yeah, we'll put that on the screen for people.
If you look at the average amount of income that one person has, this is an average.
Yes.
So everybody benefits from